I'm preparing to live stream the meeting.
Try.
I was in another group and I had to close it in order to find you all. Otherwise, I'd be sitting there alone.
Oh, well, I'm glad everything worked out.
Okay. I'm preparing to live stream the meeting. All right. I'll just do a quick little kirtan here. Jaya Sri Krishna Caitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Sivasadi Gaur Bhaktavinda
Jaya Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shiva Sadi Gaur Bhaktavinda.
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare.
Loka Guru Prabhu.
Yes, Hare Krishna, Dandavat Pranams.
Good to see you back, Prabhuji.
Yeah, it's nice to be here.
Yeah, you'll be forever credited with bringing Acyutananda Prabhu to our association.
Well, let's just hope that he doesn't decide, he decides to stay and help all of us.
Yes, thank you. How long has he been your neighbor?
I don't know. I lost count. It seems like it's been a while.
Wow. You know how to choose your neighbors.
Well, he basically came with a fistful of dollars.
Oh.
And he bought my loyalty.
Location.
Right. Oh, and that we didn't live in the middle of nowhere.
But we're just outside to be away from the hustle and bustle of downtown Alachua.
I know.
To ensure that no one comes and visits us all the time, we live on the wrong side of the tracks.
I know when you're a celebrity, you gotta try to find your peace, right? Hard to be humble when you're so great. Okay. Let me see if I can find out our book, Teaching Lord Caitanya.
I know from all our previous interaction that you're going to be using the original 1972 version.
Okay, it says here, host disabled participant screen sharing.
Uh-oh.
I did?
Well, that's what this thing says.
Well, because everybody's on there, it seems like it doesn't really mean that.
Right.
I want to see if there are people who are not on the screen who are listening in or infiltrating or otherwise
Infiltrate.
surveilling us. Yeah.
Big Brother's watching you.
Yeah. Well, who's that guy Langley?
I don't know who's that.
His name is Kia Langley. See,
No, it's pronounced Chia. Chia.
oh, right, Italian.
Like chia seeds.
No, like the agency.
Like the car.
Like the agency.
Chia.
The company.
Oh, let's let him off the hook. No, the headquarters of CIA is in Langley, Virginia.
I see. Okay.
So they use
You know all that top secret stuff.
me? No, I don't know anything. I wasn't even there.
Okay.
I couldn't say if such a thing happened or if it didn't happen.
I don't even know
I'm-
what happened. What's that
not-
saying?
I'm not.
There's
privi-
those who
privy-
wonder what happened and those
I'm
who
not
think
privy
happened.
to tell whether such a thing or event has ever occurred.
I'm not clear on what event you're referring to. I'm sorry.
That's the way I like it. That's how a spy answers. Were you involved in the assassination of the vice president of Guatemala? I am not disposed to tell whether such a thing ever happened.
Okay.
What's Guatemala?
Here we are. Now, does anyone remember? I'm sorry, I must have closed the window. Does anyone remember where we left off exactly?
We had finished the chapter.
We're in this.
Yeah, we finished that.
Did-
I
but we
thought
started
you
the next
announced
one.
that we were
Yeah.
going to start with the
But there-
Bhagavad Gita.
But let's finish the chapter. How long is this chapter?
No, this is a new chapter that's starting, chapter
Yeah,
6.
how long is this?
Oh, it's pretty long. Let me scroll through it right now. I'm just trying to figure out. I thought that we had started.
Scroll,
15 pages.
scroll like the
Okay,
wind.
scroll. Rock and scroll.
15 pages
There
in
we
the
go.
72 edition.
15 pages? Okay.
In this, there are 14.
All right.
So let's do it quickly.
All right. Did we not start this chapter at all? No?
No, we didn't. We stopped at this. No, we didn't.
Okay. So Acyutananda Prabhu, would you like to do the honor of starting chapter 16?
Conclusion of teachings. By the way, a point of order. According to Janavi Devi's protocols, we start kirtan with Guru, then Mahaprabhu Panchatattva, then Hare Krishna. Okay.
Correct.
Conclusion of
Thank you.
teachings to
Thank you.
Sanatana Goswami. Persons who cultivate knowledge for liberation are of three kinds: those who simply desire liberation, those who are liberated already, even while in this material existence. No, we're not going to get through with this too fast. At Kumbh Mela, for a long time, Prabhu was saying, I just want to go to Kumbh Mela. I want to go to Kumbh Mela. And Tamal said, Srila Prabhupada, how come you have this strong desire to go to Kumbh Mela? He said, to see all the saintly people who go there. And he mentioned liberated souls in this material existence. There, he said, there are yogis there who are 500 years old. And then he would often say, even before, he said, they can go down in one river and come up in another. I have seen it.
Wow.
Now, how did he see it?
Mm.
See? And those who are actually self-realized. There are many persons in this world who desire liberation, and sometimes they engage in devotional service for this purpose. It is corroborated in Srimad Bhagavatam, first canto, second chapter, 26th verse, that those who actually desire liberation give up all kinds of demigod worship, and without envy, concentrate their minds on the worship of Narayan, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. When such persons come in contact with a pure devotee, they engage in devotional service of Krishna and give up the idea of liberation. A verse in the Hari Bhakti Sutta Dhyaya states, Aho Mahatman Bahudosha Dushto Api Ekena Bhakti Esha Bhavo Gunena Satsanga hold it still. Sangha makena arsukha vahena kritadya no yena Krishna mumuksha. O great soul, although there are many flaws within this material life, there is yet one glory, the association of pure devotees on the internet. Cultivate such association by it, our desire for liberation diminishes. And so I'm going to go on because we've got a lot to cover here. And I'll move it up there. So in Srimad Bhagavatam, 11th canto, 2nd chapter, 37th verse, it is stated that man's fear is due to his material conception of life, to his forgetting his eternal relationship with the Supreme Lord. That's the way it's got to be said more. See, okay.
As opposed to,
We're not going to get out of here early tonight. This is his forgetfulness of his eternal relationship. Not that you physically bloop out of Vaikuntha. This is because oh dear. Jiva Krishna Bhuliya Jiva Bhoga Vanchakori. Nikatamaya Dulab Moha Panchakoti, something like that. But the first part, Prabhupada quoted so much from the Prema Vivarta. Forgetting the Bhuliya in Bengali. Bhuliya also means to make a mistake, to be imperfect. That's all a bhul. See? So forgetting means you once knew. No, we never knew. But it's our eternal nature to be with Krishna. The eternal, for instance, on my example, is at a certain, and this is important about every example, analogy, metaphor, simile, like. This is Mukunda. We can get, no, Mukunda has his own conference at this time, but Mukunda made it very important. Like, milk is like water. So simile, forgetting. It is like water. The nature of water, the dharma of water is liquid. When it's very cold, it turns into ice. When it's very hot, it turns into steam and clouds and boils. Did that start at any date in time? Once upon a time, long ago? No, it's always been. Similarly, we are called Buddha Jiva, Nitya Buddha Jivas, and we forget our eternal relationship with the Supreme Lord. And okay, one of my notes I can cross off now. It is called Chandra Shakanyaya, the logic of the moon on a branch. A young child, little baby, you say, look at the moon. The mother says, look at the moon. It's right on that branch of that tree. Because the child cannot understand that the moon is 100 yojanas further than the sun. That's from that. Child can't understand that science. So first, many of our examples and teachings are given for the first time, and for us in America, it was the first time we heard anything. People ask me, what was it like? What made it more emphasis in faith is it wasn't like anything to be with Prabhupada, or to chant, or to engage in devotional service, or to be in Vrindavan. It wasn't, I could have no idea. We'd been reading about Zen, and Timothy Leary says the spiritual life is like a drug experience, and in Zen you achieve enlightenment, all of a sudden, boom, you achieve. It wasn't like that at all. Anyway, one who has sufficient intelligence will engage in full devotional service and regard the Supreme Lord as his spiritual master and worshipable God. The conclusion is that no one can attain a revolution in consciousness without engaging in devotional service to the Lord. When one is actually free from material contamination, he can fully engage himself in Krishna consciousness. I'm going to go on.
No, stop. You're
okay,
getting,
stop.
I just want to help you out there for a second. Krishna Bahiramukha Hana Bhoga Vanchakare Nikata Shta Maya Tare Japati Adhare. As soon as
Japati, that was the word I forgot. Now the important word there is also nikate, near. is because he is near. When you come out of the Mahavishnu, you're surrounded by the material Mahatattva. There's no, you're not near, Vaikuntha is not near the material Maya. By traveling millions of years at the speed of mind, you can't get there. That's how far, more than light years. So Maya Nikote Gelo. Read it again.
Krishna Bhagiramuka Hana Bhoga Vanchakare Nikatashta Mayatare Japatiya Dare. As soon as, sorry, go on.
Maya Nikote. Okay, the conclusion of it. Okay, can I go on now?
It's,
Everybody
no, I just wanted
knows-
to, excuse me, I was looking this up when you were giving the analogy of seeing the mood through the branches. What was the point you were making with
The
that
point is
analogy?
that for a neophyte, the spiritual master gives very, very simple examples and teachings. Later on, it gets more and more involved. You know, chant 16 rounds, minimum. You know, and engaging. Right away, if you can't, like, you know, when there's some more spiritual practice and maturity, then more and more information comes. Yes, the moon looks like it's on a branch, but now, oh, we see that is for so the Vedas are indicators. Krishna is the intended. So all of the Vedas, everything is slowly. If you go through the slow process, you worship one demigod, come from Tamagun to Rajagun to Satagun, and then transcend and come to Vaishnava Gun. And Lord Chaitanya, bam, he goes right through, and even the Tamagun, the rocks in the trees, he gave a Krishna consciousness, Krishna prema.
Krishna, just so that everyone reads the paragraph and feels involved and doesn't space out, not that you space anyone out, but you know, with this way we've been doing it, read a paragraph each. Krishna Chandra, would you like to read? And then we'll stop after each so you can say something, Acyutananda or Loka Guru, or if anyone has a question, Vijay Garanga, Krishna Chandra.
Thank you very much.
Sorry to interrupt. I was just wondering which verse do we?
Which verse did I just read?
Yeah,
It's
right.
from the Prema Vivarta. It doesn't say which verse.
Okay,
As
that's
soon
good.
as soon as we forget Krishna and we want to do things for our sense gratification, that's Maya. And as soon as we give up this process of sense gratification and do everything for Krishna, that is liberation.
Is there a chapter or number there? There's 20 chapters in
No,
Prema Vivarta.
It just says Prema Vivarta. I could keep
Okay.
searching.
Okay, you can get a,
Krishna
you
Chandra.
can Google Prema Vivarta and get a copy that comes from the Chaitanya Saraswat Mutt. It's very good. And by the way, the last chapter 19 and 20 are all Harinam Mahatmya, the glories of the holy name and the offenses, everything in chapters 19 and 20.
I have that book here somewhere, Prema Vivarta. I have a copy of it.
Wow.
Be helpful if I read it sometime. Thank you for reminding me. Yes.
Shall I go?
Yeah, please.
Oh, thank you. In Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 11, Chapter 2, Shloka 37, it is stated that man's fear is due to his material conception of life and to his forgetting his eternal relationship with the Supreme Lord. Consequently, he finds himself having only perverted memories. This occurs due to the spell of material energy. One who has sufficient intelligence will engage in full devotional service and regard the Supreme Lord as his spiritual master and worshipful God. The conclusion is that no one can attain a revolution in consciousness without engaging in devotional service to the Lord. When one is actually free from material contamination, he can fully engage himself in Krishna consciousness.
Okay, that was, I just looked it up. It was Sri Prema Vivarta 6.3.
Thank you.
Very good.
And it's quoted in Madhya Lila 2102.
Yeah, Prabhupada quoted that a lot, many times.
Important verse to learn. Okay, local guru Prabhu, next verse, please.
Okay. In Srimad Bhagavatam 10:14:4, it is clearly said that one who engages in spiritual life to understand things as they are, but who lacks all intention of engaging in Krishna consciousness, simply achieves trouble for his undertaking. There is no substance to his life. Every living entity is part and parcel of the Supreme Lord, and therefore it is the duty of every living entity to serve the Supreme Whole. Without such service, the living entity falls into material contamination.
Any comments on that?
Okay. The Lord
The
Chaitanya.
translation is, sorry, go on.
That's okay. Go on.
Translation, my dear Lord, I don't know who's speaking here actually. My dear Lord, devotional service unto you is the best path for self-realization. If someone gives up that path and engages in the cultivation of speculative knowledge, he will simply undergo a troublesome process and will not achieve his desired result. As a person who beats an empty husk of wheat cannot get grain, one who simply speculates cannot achieve self-realization. His only gain is trouble. It sounds like that verse, Klesho Dikataras Chetas Tesam, right? Chapter 12 of the Gita.
Well, that's the impersonal way. But it's also a good answer to a lot of people. One lady once asked Prabhupada, well, why do I have to believe in God? Can't I just be a good person? What happens then? He says, you go to hell. Because you're eating, it's the famous story, a businessman came to Prabhupada in Bombay, and Prabhupada said, what do you do for a living? I have a glass factory. How do you make glass? From sand. Where do you get the sand? From the shore, from the beach. He says, then you are a thief.
There's a popular book, I think it's called Good Without God. Secular humanism.
Even these Mayavadis, they didn't even give Pancha Upasaka, the worship of the five mortis that Shankaracharya did allow. They didn't give any bhakti.
Oh, so you're
above
saying,
it says, if you want mukti, you want meditation and samadhi mukti, worship, you give up the demigod and come to Narayan.
so you're saying that even though one may worship demigods and Panchopasana, that's a kind of form of bhakti in a sense?
We'll get the, yes. Hold on, I'm just doing something.
Because you're acknowledging the servants.
They'll be attracted, they'll be connected to the Vedic system, and when they hear anywhere the description of Narayan, Vishnu, Vaikuntha, then they will become devotees. Did I explain in the Taittiriya Upanishad? There's a step-by-step krama from Ananda. The first kind of Ananda, the first level of Ananda is a Vedic prince. 100 times more are the Gandharvas, 100 times more than are the Deva Gandharvas, 100 times more than them are the Devas, 100 times more than them is Indra, 100 times more is Brahma. And then this Mayavadi was explaining this, and he said, of course the Anandas of Goloka we won't discuss now, because they know that Goloka and Vaikuntha is beyond the material form, but they think anything with form has got to be at least Sattva Guna. There's got to be a material guna. But they don't know where it is, because Goloka is not within the 14 worlds anywhere explained.
Right.
So people will come to that. They'll say, hey, what is this Vaikuntha? Where is that?
Right.
And
Gradually.
they'll come to Kirodakshai Vishnu and then Garbhodakshai Vishnu going back into Mahavishnu to Vaikuntha.
Srila Prabhupada saved us so much time. Dvija
Most of them stop, when they read Gita, most of them stop at the universal form. I did before knowing Prabhupada. At the end, Sanjay says, and when I think of that form of Krishna, I feel this ecstasy. I always thought he was thinking of the universal form. No, it's the two-handed, two-armed form of Krishna.
Right. Dvija Garanga, do you know where we are?
Yes. Lord Chaitanya concluded his teachings to Sanatana Goswami by pointing out that the 6 kinds of Atmarams, or transcendentalists, engage in some kind of devotional service to Krishna. In other words, at some time or another, all the transcendentalists ultimately come to understand the necessity of rendering devotional service to Krishna and become fully Krishna conscious. Even if one is very learned or extravagant, he can still engage in the devotional service of the Lord.
The 6 kinds of transcendentalists are the neophyte transcendentalist, the absorbed transcendentalist, one who is situated in transcendence, one who desires liberation, one who is actually liberated, and one who's engaged in activities in his constitutional position. All of these are Atmaramas. When a person becomes an Atmarama or a great thinker in Krishna consciousness, he fully engages in devotional service. According to the grammatical rules, there are many kinds of Atmaramas, but one sense of the word is sufficient to represent the others. In the collective sense, all the Atmaramas are inclined to worship the Supreme Lord Krishna. Acyutananda Prabhu, comment or continue?
Oh, the mystic.
Please continue.
The mystic who worships the super soul within himself is also an Atmarama. The Atmarama yogis.
It's called.
You got to hold the page still.
I'm not moving it.
Well, it's blinking. The mystic.
It's up at the top.
Yeah, some yogis. Oh boy. The mystic who worships me from the Atmarama. The Atmarama yogis are, that's blanked out, Sagarbha and Nigarbha. It is stated in Srimad Bhagavatam, 2nd canto, 2nd chapter, 8th verse. Some yogis meditate within their heart on the localized Vishnu, who is four-handed and who holds 4 symbols: conch, disc, mace, and lotus. The yogi who thinks of the 4-handed Vishnu becomes absorbed in devotional ecstasy and shows the symptoms of that state. Sometimes he cries, sometimes he feels separation from the Lord. In this way, he merges into the transcendental bliss, resulting in his becoming entrapped like a fish.
That's there's a verse about that, right? Something, well, that there's a Bhakti Vinod song, Maya Jale.
Mm-hmm.
The ocean of birth and death, stuck like a fish in a net. Krishna Chandra, you're next.
He said he'd be back in a minute. He left a message.
Oh, okay.
I'm here. I'm here.
Oh, you're there. Good.
Okay. Yeah. I apologize for that. Okay. The Sagarbha and Nigarbha yogis can be further divided into 3 categories: the beginner, the advanced yogi, and he who has attained perfection. These yogis are described in the 6th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita. Those who are trying to ascend the path of mystic yoga are called Arurukshu yogis, beginners. In Arurukshu yoga, one who practices various sitting postures and concentrates the mind. One ascends the path of yoga by means of meditation and detachment. And when one is no longer attached to working for sense gratification, he gradually becomes free. At that time, he attains a state of ecstasy called Yoga Rudha. If such a mystic yogi somehow or other comes in contact with a saintly person, he becomes a devotee of Krishna.
Anything?
There was a yogi, and I think he was the disciple of Maharishi before Maharishi got famous. And he was a Polish American, and he had a yoga school, very well attended. And he kept telling Prabhupada, I like Ram. And Prabhupada had Jadharani paint a Ram portrait for him, and he bought it for $100. And then later I saw him in Puri, who had taken some initiation. I forget the guru that was a Ram Bhakta, the guru, and he was in Puri. And he had given up yoga.
To come to Prabhupada?
No, he didn't come to Prabhupada. He was stuck on Ram only.
Hmm.
And when he came to India, I saw him in Puri on a parikrama with a group on procession, and he was wearing some kind of devotional clothing and maybe a Harinam chadar or something. And but it was a Ram Bhakta Guru that he joined.
Better to be stuck on Ram than on TM.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Harikesh told me that he was in TM and his mantra was wash.
Wash.
Yeah. Lokaguru, what was your mantra?
Well, I had two. I had the regular one, then I got advanced. The first one they gave me was Aing, and then the actual advanced technique was Aing Guruve Nama. So it caused me to come in contact more thoroughly with Srila Prabhupada, actually.
Preparing you for the Gayatri Mantra.
Indeed.
Yeah.
Not preparing me to meet Prabhupada. Yeah.
Guru Prabhu, it's very short, two little paragraphs.
Where's this? You mean?
The word Urukrama.
Word Atma.
The word Urukrama has already been explained. It indicates the Supreme Lord. And all the Atmaramas are engaged in devotional service to Urukrama. Before engaging in devotional service, such transcendentalists are called santas, or pacified devotees. And that's why the devotees went out during Christmas marathon dressed as Santa Claus. The devotees actually found that. I kid you not.
They're the real Santas.
They're the real Santas.
I dressed up as Santa. I stood in 30 below zero weather in the street lights in Indianapolis and Sudbury, Ontario.
I was really dubious about the whole concept. And we were putting on our Santa Claus outfit in Springfield, opposite the Springfield Mall. We were going to do a traffic light. And it was very spring-like that day. And some kid leans out the window and while we're put on the beard, and he shouts out really loudly, "Look, Ma, it's Santa." And I knew it was going to be really huge.
Yeah, I wanted to tell another kind of book distribution and poor Jagannath Rathayatra kind of police. I talked about how the police volunteered to be there. But in another time, there was a devotee on the street selling books. And I think this policeman actually, he didn't arrest him. I think he rescued him because there was going to be trouble. Because he brought him into the station. He said, "Sit here on this bench." No handcuffs, nothing. And he put the books on the captain's desk. And the police kept him there for an hour or so. And then he said, "Okay, you can go now. Here, take your books." And on his way out, the policeman, he must have been reading the Damodar Ashtakam because he says, "Hey, you, what's a bimbo fruit?" I don't know either, but it must be beautiful red.
Later that year, about 6 of us all got arrested. And we were in the Fairfax County Jail. And it made the Washington Post. And later when we went to court, we actually had a sort of a permit in the form of a decision by a court of Fairfax County. So we all were released. We all got off, found not guilty of doing whatever we were doing. And but it was actually really ecstatic because everyone got a candy cane, which was offered to the deities. And if they gave anything, they got it back to Godhead. If they gave $5, we gave them a Bhagavad Gita. We were doing the same program that Radha Damodar was doing.
Nice.
Yeah,
I was
it was-
go on.
no, that's all.
Yeah, I spoke with our godbrother Nirhari Prabhu today in Hawaii. He was speaking affectionately of Acyutananda Prabhu. He remembered him in Los Angeles and how he was kind to his child. Nirhari and Baba Tarini, they're in
Sure, yeah.
Hawaii.
Yeah, they had, I remember they had
Yeah.
tilak and neck beads. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
right. So anyway, he was recalling he was walking in with Prabhupada in Mayapur with Madhudvisa, Siddhasrupananda, and Rameshwar Prabhu.
I do remember them because the little child had a like 10-inch scratch on his back. I said, what happened? Said he was playing with a peacock in the garden. They
Oh.
are vicious,
Wow.
you know. And, you know, they eat snakes because that neck and their beak is faster than the snake.
Wow.
So you can't fool around with them. There's another terrible story. You want to hear it? It's really awful. It's
Okay,
really bad.
I'll just finish my story quick, and then I want to
Oh.
know. I want to know why Krishna wears a peacock feather.
Oh,
But let me finish my story. Okay, so Madhudvisa is walking with Srila Prabhupada, and I think in the back, I don't remember exactly the order, but Siddhasrupananda is there, Rameshwar is there, and Rameshwar Prabhu says, Srila Prabhupada, Siddhasrupananda just gives books away. He just gives them away for free. Doesn't get any, doesn't ask money for them, doesn't get donations. And Prabhupada stopped and he turned and he said, as long as he pays me. And Nirhari Prabhu said that what Siddhasrupananda was doing, I guess he was a sannyasi at the time, he was going to the villages in Philippines. And when he would meet poor villagers, he would just give the books to them if they couldn't give a donation. But he had another source of income, some other kind of business or whatever that was paying for them. So I thought that would be interesting to share. So could you please say why does Krishna wear a peacock feather and tell your other story?
well, Prabhupada once said Krishna has the peacock feather to glorify the peacock. But Krishna's peacock feather changes. By the way, there's a whole book, and there's a professor, young man professor at University of Florida here, who's representing Vaishnavism very strongly in the Hindu religious thing. And I said, Darwin got very angry over the peacock feather because he couldn't figure out how it could evolve. And this scholar, he's a disciple of Satyanarayan Baba, and he said, where? And I said, so I looked it up. Yeah, there's a letter to another lady from Darwin, another lady saying, I get very angry when I see peacock feathers. And then she wrote a whole book about it, debunking evolution. But Krishna's peacock feather also changes color to attract when he's in different moods, especially with Radharani,
Wow.
the Hladini Shakti.
Mm.
And what was that? You said there was a terrible story to tell about peacocks.
It's horrible. There was a little boy playing with a peacock in the zoo, and the peacock, lightning speed, bam, bam, poked both his eyes.
Oh my God.
He's so fast.
Wow.
So you don't get near them. I was once in one of those paddle boats, and there was some swans, and this one swan just kept staring at me, and I said, "We better get out of here. They'll beat you to death with the ends of their wings. There's bone in there.
Wow.
They'll just beat you to death if you're on their territory."
I live in a goose sanctuary just outside my door. There's about 30 geese, and if you're just walking across the lawn, they'll start spreading their wings. They're ready to fight, protecting their
Wow.
goslings. Yeah.
We have sand cranes here. Even they spent all winter here.
I got a story about Santa Claus
Yeah.
if you want.
Oh, hey, Siddhanta's here.
A couple paragraphs back from your discussion.
Yeah, go ahead, please.
This is Aniruddha Prabhu, who's no longer with us, joined early days. Acyutananda, you might remember him.
What name?
Aniruddha, pardon me?
What's his name?
Aniruddha.
Uh-huh. No, I
Anyway,
know the name.
Yeah, once he said we were riding on the freeway in Los Angeles when we saw a sign that said Santa Cruz, such and such number of miles ahead. Prabhupada said, "What is this Santa Cruz?" Aniruddha said, "I told him that in Spanish it's a name for Lord Jesus that literally means Saint of the Cross." He said, "Ah, yes. In India also there was a place called Shanta Cruz that was founded by some missionaries. Shanta comes from the word Shant, which means saintly. Prabhupada said, you can call me Shanta Bhaktivedanta."
Oh,
Cool.
Nice.
yeah. He also said, they said, "Can we call you Thakur?" He said, "After my death, or my god brothers will faint." And then some devotees were defending their right to dress as Santa Claus because there's a verse, Santa Sadaiva Hridayeshu Vilokayanti. Santa.
Did you finish the other paragraph, Lokaguru?
No, not yet.
Oh.
Okay, the word Atma or self is sometimes translated as mind. Sometimes mental speculators present philosophical theories in different ways, but when they come in contact with saintly persons engaged in devotional service, they also become devotees. Oh no, we already read that, didn't we?
Okay, you know that Chaudhry guy? Deepak Chaudhry. I can't
Right.
believe I remember.
Bob Chopra.
Yeah, when he describes the two birds on a branch, Atman Paramatma,
Yeah.
he calls the small bird is the mind, and the Paramatma is the Atma.
Oh, wow.
The life force. So he takes it one step down and makes a mess. This is Yadva mangling in the Yadva way by putting in a different definition, connotation of the word.
Because he spent too much time with Maharishi Mahesh Yogi, he got all mixed up.
Yeah.
Siddhanta Prabhu, you're next. Srimad Bhagavatam, 1087.
Srimad Bhagavatam 10:87-18 describes the two classes of yogis, Sagarbha and Nigarbha, as follows. The yogis begin their practice of yoga by worshiping the abdomen, and they try to concentrate their attention on their intestines. Gradually, their meditation rises to the heart, and they concentrate the mind there. Then they gradually direct their attention to the top of the head. One who can raise his meditation to that position is understood to have become perfect and to be no longer subject to birth and death. Even such yogis render causeless devotional service to the Lord when they come in contact with pure devotees.
I was explaining this, and one of the Madhva acharyas said, yes, but standing over the Brahmarandram, that fontanelle, then Prabhupada said there is a fracture. So you could say you have to crack your head to get liberation. But Madhva Acharya says, he quoted a verse from Madhva Acharya commentary and said, but there are two Vishnu Dutas that stand there with tridents to stop any non-devotional yogi from entering.
Wow.
Wow.
So maybe that's also meeting a devotee. They may meet them and get some instruction from those Vishnu Dutas.
Yeah, nice.
Interesting.
Dvija Garanga, you're up next, Prabhu.
Starting the word Atma.
Yeah.
The word Atma also means an endeavor. In every practice, there is some endeavor, and the ultimate endeavor is the endeavor to reach the highest perfectional stage of devotional service. In Srimad Bhagavatam, 1st Canto, 5th chapter, 18th verse, it is stated that one should try to attain the highest goal, which cannot be attained either in the higher or lower planetary systems. The idea is that material happiness and misery are automatically available in all planetary systems in the course of time, but the highest achievement, devotional service, cannot be attained anywhere without endeavor. Therefore, in the Brihanaradiya Purana, it is said that one who is serious about understanding the highest perfectional stage of devotional service can become successful simply by his endeavor. He cannot
Hello?
That's a famous verse. Tasyaiva heto prayateta kovido. Persons who are actually intelligent and philosophically inclined should endeavor only for that purposeful and which is not obtainable even by wandering from the topmost planet of Brahmaloka down to the lowest planet, Patala. As far as happiness derived from sense enjoyment is concerned, it can be obtained automatically in course of time, just as in course of time we obtain miseries, even though we do not desire them. I'm sorry, but you have to finish that paragraph?
Uh, just perhaps the translation of that verse of Gita.
Okay.
To those who are constantly rendering devotional service to me with love, I, who am situated in everyone's heart, give the intelligence by which they can.
Hello?
By which they can. Come on, you can do it, Vijagarangas.
It froze.
Yeah, I know.
Okay.
By which they can make undeterred progress in devotional activities.
Yeah, I think I'm having a bit of a Wi-Fi problem here. Sorry.
Okay. Tom Prabhu, you haven't read yet the word Atma.
My pleasure, yes. The word Atma also means driti, patience and perseverance. By patience and perseverance, one can achieve the highest stage of devotional service. As far as the word Muni is concerned, there are additional meanings. The word also refers to a bird and a large black bee. Another meaning of the word Nirgrantha is a foolish person. Thus, even birds, bees, and foolish people engage in the service of the Supreme Lord when they are favored by the pure devotee. Indeed, it is stated in Srimad Bhagavatam 10:21-14 that the birds in Vrindavan are devoted to the service of the Supreme Lord. It is also stated in the Bhagavatam 10:15-6 that the black bees in Vrindavan always follow Krishna and Balaram. In that verse, Sri Krishna describes to Balaram the devotional service the bees were rendering unto him, Lord Balaram. Ete linas tava yasho kila loka tirtham gayanta adi purushan upatam bhajante prayo ami munigana bhavadiya mukya gudam vane pi najati anagatama daivam. O supremely virtuous one, O original personality of Godhead, just see how these bees are following you, glorifying your transcendental fame, and thus worshiping you. Actually, these bees are not as they appear. They are great sages who are taking this opportunity to worship the Supreme Soul. Although you are not knowable by ordinary persons, they know you and they are following and glorifying you.
Okay, looks like, I don't know, Madan Mohan, are you able to speak, Prabhu? Are you able to read this?
Prabhu,
Ask to unmute.
you know, I speak so bad in English. I can understand everything, but my English spoken is so bad. If you can read, please.
Your English is poquito.
Yes, my English is not so good. I cannot express myself very well. If you read, please, Prabhu, my question.
Let's let Lavanya, would you like just to read the next paragraph and then we can check your question next, Madan Mohan? Lavanya, can you hear?
Yeah. In the next verse in Srimad Bhagavatam 10:15-7, Krishna describes the similar reception given to Balaram by the peacocks and cuckoos of Vrindavan. O worshipful one, just see how the peacocks returning to their nests are receiving you with full pleasure. These peacocks are just like the damsels of Raja. The cuckoos on the branches of the trees are also receiving you in their own way. The residents of Vrindavan are so glorious that everyone is prepared to render devotional service to the Lord. Another verse of Srimad Bhagavatam 10:35-11 describes a similar reception given to Krishna by the birds of Vrindavan. Oh, just see how the cranes and swans on the water are singing the glories of the Lord. Indeed, they are standing in the water, meditating on Him and worshiping Him. It is stated elsewhere in Srimad Bhagavatam 2:4-18. Even the aborigines and uncivilized human beings like Kiratas, Hunas, Andhras, Pulindas, Pulkashas, Abiras, Shumbas, Yavanas, and Kasas, as well as many other such human beings, can all be purified simply by taking shelter of the pure devotees. Therefore, Sukadeva Goswami offered his respectful obeisances unto Lord Vishnu, whose devotees can work so wonderfully.
Thank you, Lavanya. Acyutananda Prabhu, I know that the Pulindas are the Greeks and the Hunas would be the Germanic tribes. I believe Prabhupada said the sons of was it Puru Maharaj became the Yavanas and the Malechas in, was it Turkey and Rome?
Yeah,
I don't remember. Did you
Hun is Hungary, and even then in Latin, and then in Latin, Slav, it means they were slave class.
Slavic means
when
slave.
When Prabhupada was in Andhra, we stayed in a house. This lady was going to give us some land, and her husband, she was a widow, but her husband was a hunter, and there were trophy heads of animals in the room. We covered them all up. Antelopes and water buffalo heads. And Prabhupada looked at me and he says, I always wondered why Andhra, which has so many holy places, why is this in this verse that they're low class? Now I see they are low class hunter class.
What part of India is that? Andhra Pradesh?
Andhra's in the south, the first southern, considered south India. Hyderabad is there. And here's just an example. It's popping up. I was speaking with a translator. They speak Telugu there. And there was an East-West kind of civil war fomenting there. And my translator, I said something, he said something, and the whole crowd goes, no, 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 because he said something in the other dialect. And they said, no, Swami, it's not your fault, so they changed him. But to see the culture of India, the worst thing that one side said to the other, I think the Western Andhras insult, the worst insult that they could fling at the other group was because at the other side, the Eastern side, they like mint chutney. So they would, you mint chutney eaters. That was a word, You can call me anything, but don't call me that. But look how gentle life they are, even in
I took Diksha in Godavari in Andhra Pradesh.
Wow.
Where Ramananda Roy and Mahaprabhu met right by that shrine. Yeah.
Who's your Diksha Guru?
Srila Bhakti Vaibhav Puri Maharaj.
Oh, you're in good hands.
Thank you. Appreciate that, Prabhu.
You're in good hands. I'll tell you a story about your guru. We were showing, we had about 20-minute short documentary from about all of his kind of was terrific. At the end, a little girl would say, Sarvadharman Parijajya. Oh, the crowd just melted. But so we were in an open air amphitheater, and there was just a big cloth for the screen with a bamboo at the bottom to hold it down. And I noticed that the left side was up. So I ran around the front and I wanted to find someone who could fix it. And I looked back and it was down. So I came back to my seat. 20 minutes, the movie was over. And Bhakti Vaibhav Puri was squatting down, holding the screen down.
Wow.
For 20 minutes. Squatting down and holding that.
What year was this again?
I went through the floor. I said, "Oh boy, what now? I'm finished." I let him. I didn't know. Also, other devotees have a great story. I don't know the detail, but the devotees were going on a train, and he just came out. They didn't expect it, but they were starving. He came out with baskets of prasadam. Now, he told me specifically, just since we're on this, he said he was about the last to be initiated by Bhaktisiddhanta. And he said, I saw the whole thing, how it broke up. And his angle was the Brahmin-born disciples never accepted and liked to associate with the non-Brahmin. So they still had that
Caste
Right.
consciousness.
abhiman.
Mm.
Oh, understood.
He said that was one of the reasons.
Mm.
Let's see. I don't think Siddhanta Prabhu has read this evening.
Yes, he has.
He has? But
I'll read
okay.
again
So
if
yeah,
you
no, I
want.
was just no, I'm trying to remember here. Kasha is the Chinese Kasha race, Kasha Desh.
Uh-huh.
Shumbas, I don't know who is the Shumbas or Abiras.
But in the Hungary thing, it is pointed out that Vedavyas describes that they have very beautiful women, and he says it again in the second line, and they have beautiful women there. So we, Zsa Zsa Gabor and the whole system, they were superstar. They're Hungarian.
Mm.
Ah,
His sister was Ava.
all right. Okay, who's next? Back to Chutananda Prabhu, another meaning of the word driti.
Another meaning, see how it's going through that yadva system. Another meaning of the word driti is to realize oneself as elevated. In this state, one feels that he is free from all miseries and is elevated to the highest platform of life. All devotees in Krishna consciousness, it's blocked by talking something, all kinds of material pleasures and miseries. They are fully absorbed in the service of the Lord, and they are always jolly by virtue of their engagement in his transcendental service. They are experienced men of happiness. Indeed, they are so happy. I'll tell you about indeed another time. They are so happy that they do not even wish to be promoted to spiritual planets, for they are happy in every sphere of life, being fulfilled in the transcendental service of the Lord. They desire neither material objects nor material sense pleasures, as stated by the six Goswamis. Persons whose senses are fixed in the service of the Supreme Lord can be called peaceful.
What did you want to say about indeed?
No, not now.
Okay.
It's private.
Okay. Let's see who's after you. It's Krishna Chandra.
It has to do with editing.
Editing.
I just received a the Ritwiks. We have a lot of differences, but they are fierce supporters of Prabhupada's original words. And I'll send it to you because I got various examples from Yasodanandan. And on the sidebar, it has a compilation. You can click on all the letters that from year by year, from 66 till 77. So it's a great source. You don't have to there's 2 volumes in print, but I've got it now. I transferred it to myself. I forwarded it to myself, and you click on the dates and you get all the letters of that year.
What do you mean? Letters that refer to
Letters
changing or not changing?
Letters from Prabhupada.
Oh, no matter what the subject matter.
Yeah.
Okay.
Organized according to date.
But there's so many letters about no changes. Yeah, by year. I got
Krishna
that
Chandra.
today.
Oh, yes.
That's the word.
Oh, okay. Do you want me to read 2 paragraphs or just the one very short?
As you like.
Okay, I'll do just 2. Thus, the word Atmaram indicates that even birds, beasts, and fools, in short, everyone, can become attracted by the transcendental qualities of Krishna, engage in his service, and become liberated. Still, another meaning of Atma is intelligence. One who has special intelligence is also called Atmaram. The Atmaramas with special intelligence are of 2 kinds. One is the learned sage, and the other is the fool without book knowledge. Both of these can have an opportunity to associate with a pure devotee. Even the foolish Atmaramas can give up everything and engage in Krishna consciousness in pure devotional service. In Bhagavad Gita, chapter 10, verse 8, it is said that the Supreme Lord Krishna is the origin of everything, that everything emanates from him, and that anyone who is actually intelligent understands this and engages in his service. A verse in Srimad Bhagavatam states, Canto 2, chapter 7, verse 46, to say nothing of persons who are intelligent enough to study the Vedas, even less intelligent persons like women, laborers, hunas, and shabaras, as well as the birds and beasts, can achieve the highest perfectional stage of life by engaging in the pure devotional service of the Lord. As previously quoted, Bhagavad Gita, chapter 10, verse 10, also indicates that when a person becomes highly intelligent and engages in Krishna consciousness, Krishna reciprocates by giving him the intelligence by which he can be promoted to the abode of the Supreme Lord.
Any comments or questions on this? Okay.
Two Bhagavad
Just
Gita
so that-
verses. Two Bhagavad Gita
Yes.
verses in there.
So just so we don't go too much over time, I'm going to address some questions. Madan Mohan Prabhu from Chile, he always has questions and he's written them here in the sidebar. He asks, we all know that Caitanya Mahaprabhu's body is not material, but is spiritual and transcendental. However, he lived on earth, used dhoti, of which there are still traces of this. He hugged his devotees, walked through the land of Navadvip. So the question is, what elements was your body made of in your pastimes on earth?
Well, I don't understand your body.
Your
What
or
is-
his?
No, it probably means his.
You'd be
Yeah.
referring to Lord Chaitanya.
Yeah. Spiritual, always spiritual. He never changes. This is a difference between us and the other Vaishnava sampradayas of Pariman, Brahma Pariman. Pariman means to change. They say that Krishna can change into a material thing for the sake of Leela here. And in Vaikuntha, he's spiritual. We say, no, he never changes. We say Shakti Pariman, he can, and elements and energies can change. Like fire can become wood, and wood can go back into fire, etc. So Krishna can also energize or spiritualize anything he touches. Now, what's left over, we can see with our senses, like a dhoti or a footprint or something, and he can make himself do that. He can also make himself. He tells Uddhava. He says, "You think I'm material because you can touch me? I'll let you touch me. I can disappear forever, and you'll never see me again." Whoa. Or to Arjuna, I said, poof, universal form comes out. But there's no rasa between a devotee and the universal form except Aishwarya, wonderment, amazing. Ascharya, excuse me, sounds like Aishwarya. Aishwarya means opulence. Ascharya means to be, stunned in shock, amazing, adbhuta. Adbhuta Sringam, amazing, wonderful. The Prophet describes it as wonderful. One of the Gona rasas. I got to step away. I'll find a great verse by Vishwanath.
Jagadananda Prabhu, thank you for dropping in from Denver. Hare Krishna.
What's the other question he had?
It was the same question repeated twice.
Oh.
Yeah, Jagadananda, would you like to read the next paragraph, please? The Lord then told. Are you there?
He's got on mute.
Oh,
Here, I'm
you're
sorry.
on mute. You're on mute. Took you off mute. Can you start again, please? Ask to unmute. I'm asking to unmute.
Unmute, unmute.
He's not cooperating.
Not muted.
Okay, if Jagadananda is not going to read, then
No,
we have
he's
Nitya.
there. He's there.
Are you
He's
here?
Yeah,
there.
I saw him too.
Jagadananda, are you there? Speak, please,
Yes.
or forever hold your peace.
Can you share the screen with me with the,
There you go.
Okay, you're there. Good, cool. Thanks, Prabhu. All right, go ahead.
okay. The Lord then told Sanatana Goswami that the association of good devotees, engagement in the transcendental service of the Lord, the understanding of Srimad Bhagavatam, the chanting of the holy name of the Lord, and residence in the holy place like Vrindavan or Mathura are all very important for elevation to the transcendental plane. One need not practice all 5 of these items. If one is expert in just one of them, he will, without fail, be elevated to the stage of love of Godhead. One who is actually intelligent gives up all material desires and engages in transcendental service of Krishna. The influence of devotional service is such that a person who engages in it gives up all material desires and becomes fully attached to Krishna, being inspired by the transcendental qualities of the Lord. Such is the beauty of the Lord in the eyes of his devotee.
Comments, questions? So one can achieve perfection in any one of those 5, correct? Or all 5.
Yeah, Prabhupada says if one becomes expert in one of them, then he is also, without fail, elevated to the stage of love of Godhead.
And of these 5, chanting of the holy name of the Lord, that would be considered to be the most important of them all, right?
We follow Lord Caitanya.
Yes. Kalev Doshanidhi Rajan, Asti Heko Mahan Guna.
Kirtana Deva Krishna Sya Mukta Sangha Parambraje. There's only one good thing in the age of Kali. It's simply by chanting the holy name of the Lord. Although it's an ocean of faults in Kali Yuga, one can achieve perfection. They can not only become purified, but achieve love of Krishna. So we have all the way from Pakistan, we have Nitya Leela Devi Dasi, Dr. Maheshwari. Would you like to read the next paragraph, please?
I'm just searching. It's chapter 14, right?
Another meaning of the word Atma is nature. Can you see it on the screen?
Yeah. Another meaning of the word Atma is nature. In this case, the word Dharmatma indicates that everyone is enjoying the particular nature he has acquired. But the ultimate nature, the eternal nature of the living entity, is to serve the Supreme Lord. One who attains to the perfection of understanding his real nature as eternal servant of the Lord gives up his designative material or bodily conception of life. That is real knowledge. Those who are in pursuit of knowledge and who get the opportunity to associate with a pure devotee also engage in the devotional service of the Lord. Sages like the 4 Kumaras as well as fools and birds can engage in the Lord's transcendental service by being favored with Krishna's causeless mercy. Anyone can be elevated to the platform of Krishna consciousness.
Siddhanta Prabhu, any Prabhupada stories you've been keeping from us?
Well, I've got thousands of them, but I'm not sure anything relates to this particular.
Okay,
paragraph.
nothing is that was particularly relevant popped up in the last while.
No, but thanks for asking.
Yeah. Okay. And whose turn is it now? I don't know who else is here. Krishna did. Loka Guru, is it your turn?
Yeah.
Why not? One who becomes attracted by the transcendental qualities of Krishna begins devotional service. In Srimad Bhagavatam 10:15-8, Krishna glorifies the land of Vrindavan as he addresses Balaram in this way. Danyeham adya dharani trina virudastvat pada svarso drumalata karajambim shrishta nadyodraya kagamriga sadaya valokair Gopyo Nitrena Bujayor Apiyat Sprahasri. The land of Brajabhumi is made glorious by the touch of your feet. Being touched by your fingers, the creepers have also become glorious. When you look on the hills, rivers, and lower animals, they too are all made glorious. And the gopis, being embraced by your transcendental arms, are also made glorious. Prabhupada says in his original book, he says that being embraced by your transcendental arms, the gopis are glorified, not glorious. So I don't know if that's important. The gopis glorified Vrindavan in the following words. Dear friends, all of these inhabitants of Brajabhumi, everyone, including the birds, beasts, and trees, are glorified when they see Lord Krishna and Balaram singing on their flutes as they go to the pasturing grounds with their friends.
Yeah, I got one. Yeah, back to Krishna's spiritual body, even in the Boma Lila. We have the Dami Buddhi Yogam Tamyana. Those who worship me, I give the devotion by which I reveal myself. But then he also says, Nahang Prakasha Sarvasya Yogamaya Samavrita. Those who are not my devotees, I do not reveal myself to them. So this brings up Krishna's spiritual body. Well, so somebody once asked, well, Krishna's spiritual body, and you can't see Krishna with material senses. Who saw the Rasli? Did they just see gopi and then a blank, and a gopi and a blank? No, they saw something. Just like this is the problem with the Mausala Lila of Krishna's disappearance. There was also the cremation of Krishna. And Vishwanath Chakrabarti and Prabhupada told us right away, because we were always asking about Krishna and even Lord Chaitanya, how did he pass away? Because that's a big thing for Christians, is Jesus' death. So how did Krishna die? And Prabhupada's face went dark, but he said there was a cremation. He left something for the atheists. See, there's a body. And his heart. Now, I had heard that it was his navel, but devotees in Jagannath Puri, the Pandits and other authorities say, was his heart did not burn. That was thrown into the ocean. It comes around. That becomes the log, and that is a Brahma something. And
Daru Brahma.
Daru Brahma, but that's wood. But this heart is put into the new deities every, I think, 12 years, which was about 2 years ago. And there's a huge ceremony of placing that heart into the deity of Jagannath.
Wow.
Oh, that's an amazing place. There was an eagle recently. There's some YouTube videos, very short, but an eagle landed on the top. One time the flag caught fire.
Huh.
Just like that. And there are little places for feet for the men to climb up and put flags on. But when you look up close and you see the stone, it's phenomenal architecture, on this thing. So I have a verse. This is so Prabhupada's Nectar of Devotion is a summary study, even though it's this thick. And the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu is verse by verse, so it's that thick. But even Vishwanath Chakrabarti wrote the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu Bindu. He wrote 3 books, the Brihad Bhagavatamrita Kana, a piece of that, and Ujjvala Nilamani Kiran, a spark, a ray of the Ujjvala Nilamani. Ujjvala means brilliance. So he wrote 2, and then Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu Bindu, a drop of the Nectar of Devotion, Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, Bindu, a drop. So on the back cover, and I won't read the Sanskrit because it's hard to read. But on the back, he wrote one verse. It's a long verse, 4 lines. All 12 rasas are there. Although Krishna supported the great weight of Govardhan, he was devoid of pride, Shanta. He smiled when he saw that the small boys were prepared to hold up the hill, Hasya and Vatsalya. He spat at the smell of the musty yogurt, Vivatsa, disgust. He displayed a tremulous prowess to lift Govardhan Hill in the presence of his beloved friends, Sakya and Vira, heroism. He looked at Indra with red eyes, Rodra, anger. Tears came to his eyes when he saw the residents of Braja tormented by the powerful wind and rain, Karuna, mercy and compassion. He trembled when he saw his respectful elders on account of having spoiled the Indra Yagya, Dasya and Bhayanaka, fear. His eyes widened when the torrential downpour of water, Adbhuta, and his hair stood on end when he saw the young girls, Madhurya. May that Lord, Giridhari, protect you.
Well, it's all there.
And this is full of charts and diagrams of everything in order to understand the sequence of rasas.
Nice. From the purport to the last verse that we were just reading prior to your comment, Prabhupada explains that Krishna and Balaram would glance lovingly and mercifully at all the rivers, hills, and creatures in Vrindavan, but the blessing received by the gopis, being embraced directly between the Lord's arms, was the supreme benediction desired even by the goddess of fortune herself. The goddess of fortune who lives in Vaikuntha on the chest of Lord Narayan once desired to be embraced on the chest of Sri Krishna, and thus she performed severe austerities to achieve this blessing. Sri Krishna informed her that her actual place was in Vaikuntha, and that it was not possible for her to dwell upon his chest in Vrindavan. Therefore, she begged Krishna to allow her to remain on his chest in the form of a golden line, and he granted her this benediction. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur recounts this incident from the Puranas. So is that called the Srivatsa, that golden line that appears on Krishna's chest? Is that Srivats?
Yes.
Okay. So Tom Prabhu, would you like to continue the word Atma?
The word Atma also means this body. The yogis who practice bodily exercises, considering the body to be the self, are also elevated to the transcendental service of the Lord if they associate with pure devotees. There are many people who believe the body to be the self, and they are engaged in many fruitive activities, including bathing rituals and ordinary worldly activities. But when they come in contact with a pure devotee, they also engage in the transcendental service of the Lord.
Vijagaranga Prabhu?
In Srimad Bhagavatam, 1st Canto, 18th chapter, 12th verse, it is stated, "O my dear Sutta Goswami, we have become darkened by the sacrificial smoke of fruitive activities, but you have given us the nectar of Krishna's lotus feet." It is also stated in Srimad Bhagavatam 4:21-31, "The waters of the Ganges flows from the tip of the lotus feet of Krishna, and by bathing in that water, everyone, including fruitive actors and all sages, can wash dirty things from the mind."
I have a little story about the previous paragraph.
Thank you.
If you want to hear that,
Please.
can you
Please.
scroll back to that previous paragraph, the one just prior to
Oh, sure.
what was
Yeah.
read?
Coming right up. So, right there
I don't see it yet.
in Srimad Bhagavatam.
No,
The one before that?
Before.
about associating with the pure devotee.
Yeah.
I gave a class Thursday or yesterday to the devotees in Montreal on Sankirtan stories, And one of the participants was Praghosh Prabhu, and he was describing how he was distributing books to two military guys that in the airport when Prabhupada was arriving. Washington was one. And they were just ecstatic. They couldn't believe that the author was coming, and they were, ecstatic. But the real essence, the thing that comes to mind was the previous story that Praghosh told, how a woman, not a devotee, but a lady who was not initiated, had a garland. And as Prabhupada came through the airport, everyone was giving Prabhupada the garlands, putting him on over his head, around his neck. And she came up and she wanted to offer a garland someone had handed her to present to Prabhupada. And Prabhupada stopped for her. He bowed his head a little bit for her to drape the garland around his neck, over his head and around his neck. And as soon as she did that and she looked at Prabhupada, tears, Praghosh describes it, tears, and he was right next to her. He could see tears just shot out of her eyes.
Wow.
It was, it was not like dripping down her eyes along, down her cheek, but tears actually shot out from her eyes in coming in contact with the pure devotee.
Wow.
That was a physical symptom that, he touched everyone, not just his initiated disciples, but anyone who came in his contact. That was the effect.
Thank you. So, Lavanya.
He was on fire. And he set fire to the rest of us.
That's right.
Yes.
Would you like to read this next paragraph, Tarun Krishna Prabhu? Can you see the screen, even those who believe?
I don't have the book. Which book is it? TLC?
It's on the screen. You can't see the screen?
Let's see. I see 4 pictures. Loga Guru.
Okay. Then Lavanya, could you read them, please? Even those who believe?
Even those who believe that the body is the self, or those who are full of material desires, are also in a sense, how do you move this? It's covering the.
You have to click on the little bar. There's like 4 different little size boxes.
Oh shoot, I just
click on the small one, the first one above.
You can drag it up.
Oh really?
Yeah.
Okay, I just lost the screen share. I don't know how I did this. Okay, drag that. Now the screen share, where's the screen share? How did I lose that? Oh.
No, it's there.
Okay, there it is. All right, so, oh shoot. Sorry about this. Okay, there we go.
Should someone else take over?
No.
Even those who believe that the body is the self, or those who are full of material desires, are also, in a sense, Atmarama. When they associate with the pure devotees of the Lord, they give up their material desires and become perfect in the service of the Lord. The best example of this is found in the Hari Bhakti Sudhadoya, wherein 728, wherein Dhruva Maharaj said, Stana vilasi tapasi stitoham tvam praptavan deva munindra guyam kacham vinin varun varat kacham vichin on api divya ratnam swamin kritartos me varam nayate. My dear Lord, I came to worship you because I desired some land on this earth, but fortunately I have attained you, who are beyond even the perception of great sages and saintly persons. I came to search out some particles of colored glass, but instead I found a very valuable gem like you. I am satisfied, and I do not desire to ask anything of you.
Prabhupada would often quote this last line, Swamin kritartosmi varam nayache. I found a very valuable gem like you, and I don't need anything else. Acyutananda, Lokaguru, any comments from you? Siddhanta Prabhu?
No.
No.
Okay. Nityarada, would you like to read the next paragraph?
I can read also.
Yeah. Okay.
Oh, you
Sure.
found it,
Yes,
Tarun Krishna? Okay.
there is
There is
also
also
another meaning to the word meaning to the word nirgranta. The word can also mean foolish hunter, a poor or wretched poor man. There is an instance of such a hunter who attained salvation and engaged himself in devotional service of the Lord simply by associating with the pure devotee Narada. Indeed, Lord Caitanya told Sanatana Goswami the following story of the hunter's meeting with Narada. Okay, once there was a hunter in the forest of Prayag who was fortunate enough to meet Narada Muni when the great sage was returning from Vaikuntha after visiting Lord Narayan. Narada came to Prayag to bathe in the confluence of the Ganges and Jamuna. While passing through the forest, Narada saw a bird lying on the ground. The bird was half killed, having been pierced by an arrow, and it was chirping piteously. Further on, Narada saw a deer flopping about in agony. Further, he saw that a boar was also suffering. And in another place, he saw a rabbit twitching in pain. All this made him feel very compassionate, and he began to think, who is the foolish man who has committed such sins? In general, devotees of the Lord are compassionate toward the suffering of the entities, and so what to speak of the great sage Narada? He became very much aggrieved by this scene, and after proceeding a few steps, he saw the hunter engaged in hunting with bow and arrows. The hunter's complexion was very black, and his eyes were red. It appeared to be dangerous. Dangerous just to see him standing there with bow and arrows. Okay. Somebody block this. Somebody just, okay.
the hunter's complexion.
Hunter's complexion was very black, and it appeared to be dangerous just to see him standing there with bow and arrows, looking just like an associate of Yamaraj, death. Seeing him, Narada Muni entered deeper into the forest to approach him. As Narada Muni passed through the forest, all the animals who were caught in the hunter's traps fled away. The hunter became very angry at this, and he was just about to call Narada vile names, but due to the influence of saintly Narada, the hunter could not utter.
No names.
It's covering the box. The hunter hunter could not utter such blasphemies. I'm trying to raise the writing a little bit.
You're reading off a phone.
Yeah, so it says the hunter could not utter, that's a little bit blasphemies. Rather, with gentle behavior, he asked Narada. I can't see. Okay, that's good. Rather, with gentle behavior, he asked Narada, "My dear sir, why have you come here while I am hunting? Have you strayed from the general path? Because you have come here, all the animals in my traps have fled." Yes, I'm sorry, Narada replied. I have come to you to find my own path and to inquire from you. While on the path I have seen, while on the path, I have seen that there are many boars, deer, and rabbits lying on the forest floor, half dead and flopping about. Up more, please. Okay. Up more. Okay. Who does want to read? Who was? I can't see. Blocked. From who was? Who has? To me, who has? I can't see it. Who has?
Siddhanta, can you continue on, please?
He's just leaving.
He's leaving, he says.
I can continue.
Oh, okay.
Scroll up a little bit. Scroll up a little bit. Oh, yeah. That's good. Who has, let's see, who has committed these? Okay. On the path, I have seen that. Okay. While on the path, I have seen that there are many boars, deer, and rabbits lying on the forest floor, half dead and flopping about. Who has committed these sinful acts? What you have seen is all right, the dog. What you okay, it's good. What you have seen is all right, the hunter replied. It was done by me. Okay, if you are a hunter, you are hunting all these poor animals. Why don't you kill them at once? Narada asked. You have killed them, and they are writhing in their death pangs. This is a great sin. If you want to kill an animal, why don't you kill it completely? Or do you have it half killed and allow it to die flopping around? My dear Lord, the hunter replied, my name is Mugari, enemy of the animals. I am simply following the teachings of my father, who taught me to half kill animals and leave them flopping about. When a half dead animal suffers, I take great pleasure in it. I beg only one thing from you, Narada implored. Please accept it. Oh, yes, sir. I shall give whatever you have, whatever you like. Excuse me. Oh, yes, sir. I shall give you whatever you like. The hunter said, if you want some animal skins, come to my house. I have many skins of animals, including tigers and deer. I shall give you whatever you want. I do not want such things, Narada replied. But I do want something else. Since you kindly agreed to grant it to me, I shall tell you, please henceforth from tomorrow, whenever you kill an animal, please kill it completely. Don't leave it half dead. My dear sir, what are you asking of me? What is the difference between killing an animal and killing it completely? If you have killed the animals, they suffer great pain, Narada explained. If you give too much pain to other living entities, you commit great sin. There is a great offense committed when you kill an animal completely, but the offense is much greater when you half kill it. Indeed, the pain which you give half dead animals will have to be accepted by you in a future birth.
I'm just going to stop it there for next time, because I'm trying to end by 9:30 in case people have japa or they want to wake up the next morning early. One thought that came to me about this reading is, I remember Bhagavan Prabhu many years ago when he was giving this class, he was making the point that when Mrigarhi the hunter offered his skins to Narada, he was giving this as an example of unfavorable devotional service, that you should give to the spiritual master what it is that he wants or needs. I mean, out of his ignorance, he was offering some dead animal skins. So, I guess Krishna, recognizes that there is at least that serving spirit there. But
Yes.
that devotional, yes, go on, please.
Yeah, there's Prabhupada was in the Rath Yatra in LA, and a biker comes up the steps of the Rath Yatra, and in one hand he had a soda, and the other hand he had a hot dog. And he was offering it to Prabhupada. And Guru Kripa said, nah. Prabhupada said, no, he wants to serve.
Oh, nice.
Wow.
Obviously, Prabhupada didn't accept the hot dog, but he didn't take the soft drink either, did he?
I don't think so.
No.
Kanchan Bala Devidasi, Madhusudan's wife,
Yes.
used to offer different types of weeds and things that she found in the garden. But she was just a little kid, like 16, 17 years old. But Prabhupada would accept them. I think that was 61 Second Avenue, maybe.
I see that Madan Mohan has a question. He's asking, some devotees mention the absolute need to associate with a pure devotee present on earth as an essential aspect to continue advancing in devotional service. And others say that the most important thing is the Vani. Follow the instructions of Srila Prabhupada and read the books, and that's enough. Could you please answer this question?
I will. Prabhupada is in his books, but Prabhupada is also in Prabhupada. And if you read the books, it says associate with devotees. And they say, oh, that's bodily conception. It's a terrible interpretation. It's just terrible. Over and over it says association. And the last instruction in the Ramananda Samvad, what is the worst thing? Not being associated, not having the association of devotees.
Uh-huh.
So when they do this Ritwik version, I said, oh, Prabhupada's here. Oh, you see him here? Then you're initiating people, and they initiate with a yagya. And you're expecting them to see Prabhupada here. You're expecting them to be Uttamadhikari just on the day of their initiation, that they can see Prabhupada here and now.
But not to give you a hard time, but to play devil's advocate, and just to hear your response, to learn from you, they will say, what will they say?
I don't know. But yes, there are people who were in the presence of Krishna or Lord Chaitanya or Prabhupada who didn't care about the Vani either. And there are a lot of articles and things, a whole lot of mush about Prabhupada ate a sweet and he smiled at me. No Vani though. So if you're there, right. Or here's a great one that the Ritwiks use for this. A devotee is on a morning walk with Prabhupada. Says, Prabhupada, if we have questions, what should we do? Prabhupada says, read my books. And if we still have questions, he says, read them again. So the Ritwiks think that's a great endorsement. Look at this. Your spiritual master is standing right in front of you, and you're saying, what should I do if I have a question? You ask your spiritual master. It's offensive. Here's Prabhupada right in front of you, and you say, what should I do? I could ask me. But the question is so odd, okay, read my books, then read them again. If you read them again and again, you'll see it says, Tadvidi pranipatena pariprasnena, say, ask your spiritual master, approach your spiritual master humbly and put questions and do service to him. Narottam Das Thakur used to clean Lokanath's toilet without him even knowing. He said, who's cleaning my toilet every day? It was Narottam.
What about Vede, Shudur, Labamadura, Maladma Bhakto? That's the one liner.
Brahmasami.
Atma Bhakto can explain everything.
Yeah, Srila Prabhupada also writes in his purport in Caitanya Charitamrita in Madhya Lila, chapter 22. It's the verse 71 in the purport. He says, the second-class devotee, even though he cannot support his position with Shastric reference, can gradually become a first-class devotee by studying.
So,
Sorry.
Oh, Nrihari has arrived.
All right, so the second
Sorry,
class.
local guru.
Huh?
Please continue, local guru.
Okay, the second-class devotee can gradually become a first-class devotee by studying the Shastras and associating with a first-class devotee. However, if the second-class devotee does not advance himself by associating with a first-class devotee, he makes no progress. There is no possibility that a first-class devotee will fall down, even though he may mix with non-devotees to preach. Conviction and faith gradually increase to make one an Uttam Adhikari, first-class devotee.
What's your main point there?
My main point is Srila Prabhupada's main point, that a second-class devotee or any devotee needs to study the Shastra, but they also need to, as far as possible, associate with the pure devotee, the
Yes.
first-class devotee.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's not
Nora, we
either
spoke-
or, it's all, it's both.
Yes. Nrihari Prabhu, welcome. It's the first time Nrihari Prabhu is joining us all the way from Hawaii. I told him that we're with Acyutananda every day. So,
Oh, and my wife, Batrini.
and Baba Tarini is here too. So,
You guys say Haribo Aloha?
Aloha.
Haribo Aloha.
Haribol to Tulsi Gabbard.
Oh, Maharaj, oh, Acyutananda Prabhu.
We
Long
heard-
time.
we were together in Mexico, 1973.
Oh my God.
You were
Haribol.
Karun Krishna Prabhu.
Jai Ho.
Hanuman. Right.
Hanuman was the husband of Nrihari's sister, Bhakta Dasi.
What about Aha? What happened to Aha Dasi?
I haven't heard from her in a long time, Prabhu, including my son, but I haven't heard from her. I suppose she's still alive. Usually bad news travel pretty fast. So.
Acyutananda Prabhu was mentioning earlier, he remembers your son having a big scar in his back from the peacock.
Might be somebody. There might be somebody else then.
Oh,
yeah. No, you were Maharaj. Acyutananda Prabhu, you were in LA at the same time, and with my first wife, we did a Govardhan story. Narayan was in it. I'm sorry.
He narrated.
And you narrated the story. It's in tape. We still have the CD, and we have distributed a few of them.
What year? What year are you talking about?
Do you remember the year? Yeah, 79. Yes, because my son turned 5 and we shaved his head, and I have a photograph of him with Acyutananda Prabhu right on the sidewalk of the temple in Los Angeles.
Nitya Leela from Pakistan is asking, is Vaishnavism polymorphic bimonotheism? Acyutananda Prabhu.
What?
Is
Speak English.
Is Vaishnavism polymorphic bimonotheism?
Oh, sure. I don't know what he means by those words, so I don't know. But about the books, two things. Books, two things. There's why is there crosstalk? The Christians have a saying: the devil knows every word of the Bible. Similarly, also, Pushkar told me there's some guy in Europe who's anti-ISKCON who can quote Prabhupada's books all of them, chapter and verse. So just reading the books, you can still become pratikul. So what is that Pali?
Pratikul means useless or what?
Against, anti.
Like, okay.
Anukul
Right.
is favorable, pratikul,
Okay.
unfavorable. And he's an enemy of ISKCON, but he's gone through Prabhupada's book, memorized it. Because Pushkar is memorized he has memorized up to every verse up to the fifth canto. He has a
Wow.
photographic memory.
Wow.
Right.
And so he wanted to meet or know about someone who also had this gift. And this guy's completely anti-ISKCON, anti-Prabhupada. What is that polymorphous ontological, physiological, theological, heterogeneous, hermetical,
Do you want to ask your question personally?
hemophilia?
Chalila.
If you remember in Ramayana, Radha knew all the scriptures.
Yeah.
He was an expert at it.
Yeah. So what is that? You explain those words, those
Jalila, please speak.
Yeah, actually, I found this word on internet. It was being given some of the released recently. That was about the Varnashrama. So there it was being mentioned, and I was like, what does it mean? And maybe it is related to philosophy or Chaitanya Mahaprabhu Achinte Veda philosophy. Maybe I'm not confirmed. So I just sought to request you to have clarification.
Is it hermeneutical or hagiological?
No idea.
See, gotcha. I didn't understand what she said, but
She's saying mono versus bi, and poly, poly versus.
Well,
By meaning Radha Krishna.
Okay.
Right.
As opposed to polymorphic monotheism.
But we have Achintya Beda. It is both, it is neither. We have Achintya Beda Beda. There's simultaneously one and different, and this is inconceivable. And the Madhva acharyas told me, so we understand Beda Beda, but why Achintya? Because without bhakti, you cannot know how to, and this is Bhakti Siddhanta's word, harmonize this. So these two, bi or mono, they are harmonized when we have bhakti, to know that verse about Lord Chaitanya. Once again, they have become one. So there is one undifferentiated absolute truth. He divides into Shaktiman and Shakti. But once again, they have become one in Lord Chaitanya. Rasaraja Mahabhav Duyakaru. It's fantastic. But these things are inconceivable, just like in the Ratha Yatra of Lord Chaitanya. Lord Chaitanya is Krishna in the bhava of Radharani. Radharaman deity is Krishna on the outside with Radharani in his heart. There's no Radharani deity there. But back to Ratha Yatra. So Lord Chaitanya is Krishna in Radharani mood, and Jagannath is ecstatic over, and his eyes are bulging like that, remembering Braja, looking at Krishna. So there's Krishna and Jagannath. Are they one? Yeah. Are they both looking at each other? Yeah. So we got binary, we got multiplex, and superplex. It's ontologically.
I'm perplexed.
Yeah. And
also in the Parampara song, written by Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati, he says, Mahaprabhu Sri Chaitanya Radha Krishna Nahe Anya. Rupanuga Janada Jivana. That's the concept of the Rupanugas.
I bought Prabhupada poster, and now the local guru told me there's an actual deity of you have seen Radha and Krishna entwined. One arm is here and her arm is there. One foot comes out this way, one foot is wrapped around. And I thought that might be too esoteric or too erotic, but I bought that picture and we were in Delhi and no, Calcutta. And I gave him that poster. He said, yes, the two are one. And I think that is, No.
Prabhu,
So
didn't
he
Srila Prabhupada have
accepted
that
that.
picture in New York over his desk?
Mhm. He did, okay. So that is accepted.
Today, Nirhari Prabhu was saying to me, oh, what happened to your voice, Acyutananda? We can't hear you.
I'm not talking.
Oh, okay.
That happens when I don't talk. But sometimes, because sometimes I'm in parentheses.
Okay. Nirhari Prabhu was saying to me earlier that Krishna prefers to be chastised by the gopis than to hear the prayers of Lord Brahma.
Mhm.
What was that in context with, Nirhari Prabhu?
Oh,
You were saying out of love, you
And-
can say no. You can say no to the spiritual master. Is that right? Were you saying that?
yeah, the thing that the main ingredient is bhakti. And so out of love, Mother Jashoda would just pull Krishna's ear, wouldn't she? And she did, or chastise him. So when Brahma feels so terribly bad and he has realized he has committed big faux pas, and he comes to Upper Krishna, he recites the choicest prayers that no normal human being could probably recite. But Lord Krishna is looking in the distance towards his friends. He's not really paying attention. But once Lord Brahma mentions Nanda Baba and Yashoda Maya, then Krishna looks at him in the eyes. And it starts, okay, all right, go on.
This Mano and Bai are also pantheistic. This is a great chapter and a great thing from the Rig Vedas, the Purusha Shukta, that Krishna is like a universal form, is spread all out, and the demigods divide him into Brahman, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra, into the 8,400,000 species of life, into this Yagya, into that Murti, into this. But Purnameva Vashishyate, he remains complete in the balance. The ordinary Vedic scholars think that Krishna, Purusha Shukta, is divided and spread all over. And the atheists love that. Oh, I'm having sense gratification because it's a piece of God. I see God everywhere. You see God everywhere. Prabhupada said, okay, so can you there was a disciple of Dr. Mishra. We met him in the morning. He had an apple in one hand and a cigarette in the other. And Prabhupada said, which is better? And he was going, it's all one, it's all the same. The Prabhupada said, so eat the cigarette and smoke the apple.
Oh, clever.
So clever. This is the one that Prabhupada.
Oh, he was too much. I see everything. Yeah.
Who was it? You said that on the first initiation, many of those devotees left Acyutananda Prabhu, but you were present at the second initiation. Who took that initiation with you?
Four, but I always forget who the fourth one was, but it was me, Kirtananda, Brahmananda. I don't know who the fourth one was. We may look it up in some kind of archive, probably in the Lilamrita.
Jadurani came later?
Yeah, she was
he came with-
17.
Yeah.
She was number 17.
Number 17.
Yeah,
Oh.
well, in the
Jadurani was number 16.
Okay. So, yeah, because Prabhupada gave 12 initiation to 12, but they more or less fell out, fell away.
That was the first time.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
They signed the charter, the registration, they were the prospectus, etc., but they didn't stay. So it's it was nice of Prabhupada. I have a letter that says, Prabhupada writes to me, says, I regard you as my first disciple, because really at that time, everybody had kind of fallen away.
Oh, yeah, the Kirtananda left, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ramananda was in Africa.
Oh, okay.
And Gargamuni, I don't know where he was then, so I regard it as my first disciple, but I was not the first disciple.
Umapati was first.
No.
He might have been in the 12, yeah, I think.
Yeah.
I heard that Umapati was first.
But he went away right away for a while.
And Hayagriva?
Yeah. He may have been in the 12. But
You
he
heard
was
that
not.
Hayagriva saw Met Prabhupada on the sidewalks on the street.
Yes.
Prabhupada said he's giving classes, something like that.
Yeah. He said, I asked the obvious question, are you from India? He was in his robe. Because he had been to India. He had been to India with Kirtananda to knock around and have legal marijuana. Just to pull it, because Prabhupada kept asking Kirtananda and Hayagriva, did you see the Taj Mahal? No. Did you see the Gateway of India? No. Did you see? He said, then what did you see? I said, we saw a lot of grass.
About
They didn't go to any temples. They just went there because Allen Ginsberg had presented that India is a pot culture, and it's not.
Oh. What happened to Ramanuja? The one you went to India?
He was always arguing with Prabhupada. He fell away. He came to India, and he had the idea that from Timothy Leary that spiritual experience is similar to LSD. And then he would argue. It was very interesting. Prabhupada told me, he said, my spiritual master never gave an order. He would say, if you do like this, I will be pleased. So Krishna will be pleased. But he didn't say do. Just like, oh, I get to say this. There's 10 commandments. What if Jehovah gave Moses the 10 suggestions? Okay. That would be bhakti. That would be bhakti, because Krishna tells Arjuna, now that you've heard what I've said, deliberate over this and do as you wish. So similarly, the spiritual master also, only the spiritual masters can say you should do this. Because that's a weak word. It's up to the disciple to say, I think he wants me to do this. But he doesn't say you must do this. Because then it would be, out of, that's kanishta, that's just an order. You may not like it, it's not out of love or devotion about any bhakti. So Ramanuja came to India and he kept his hair and his big ugly beard. So Prabhupada wanted him to shave up. He never ordered him to shave up. He said, come here, look at these pictures. You see Lord Caitanya? You see his head? You see, here's the sixth Goswami, here's a picture of this. You see, you want me to shave up? Yes! So he shaved up once and then let it all grow back when Prabhupada went back to America in December. He was from a very wealthy family, so he really didn't care.
I had an experience when I gave Srila Prabhupada my inheritance. He wrote me a very nice letter and said that I was helping everyone, all his Western disciples, all my godbrothers and godsisters, with this donation so that he could build places in Mayapur and Vrindavan for us to come and take advantage. And these places are the best places to chant Hare Krishna, prepare for going back home, back to Godhead. And you can also come there too, and you can have your own room in Vrindavan or Mayapur. And so that was very nice, and then I gave him the donation, and then he came to Hawaii, and I didn't realize he was telling me to go live in Vrindavan. And he says to me, why aren't you in Vrindavan? The letter just sounded like, a suggestion.
You probably all heard this, but it's a great thing. Prabhupada was in Hawaii. He looked over and he said, Abrahma Bhuvanalo Kapunarabatir Narjuna. There is Dukhalaya. This material world is a place of suffering. There's no place to be happy in this material world, but maybe Hawaii.
No, we live near. We're actually about 2 blocks away from the cliffs, so you can see the ocean. I don't know if you from there, but anyhow, about 3 years ago, the volcano erupted. There's one of the caldera,
Wow.
and there was about 2,000 little earthquakes with a major one, 6.9. We ran with our DDs. I had to come here all the time. There were cracks. It was like a war zone. Then we had like really nasty bugs that they carry sulfuric acid in them or chlorhydric acid. So you don't want, they call them blister bugs. They blister your skin. And then the fire ants came in. The last 30 something years that we've been here, when we first arrived, it was pretty heavenly. In our land, when we went out there, there were no mosquitoes. There's no snake here, but there's scorpions, there's wild boar, but the people were different. We're a lot friendlier. But
is Tulsi Gabbard active at all?
No, I haven't heard from him in a long while. We try to head a program of cow protection here. I thought I appealed to all with that training through Bhalavanta Prabhu, to Ambarish Prabhu, but he was busy. That it was a great opportunity for the state because there's no longer dairies in Hawaii. And so that was a chance for me to for us actually, to meet with her father, who is a senator.
He's a disciple of Prabhupada.
He's actually a disciple of Siddha Swarupananda.
Siddha Swarupananda. I'm sorry.
Rupa Krishna?
No, it's
I'm sorry, I forget.
Katai.
Krishna Kata.
Yeah.
So very nice. We had a great conversation. He said he will help us in every way we can, but he could. Anyhow, we got into head to head with the Rakshasas here. The dairy industry, the cattle, the so-called cattlemen, they consider themselves that, there was a huge lease, a huge piece of land to be gotten, and this dairy that was closed down, it was a GMO, very modern.
Dairy mafia. Dairy mafia.
Yeah.
Dairy mafia.
So right now we bought cows with a few, and last month Trini helped another 30 to relocate them throughout the island. It was a great chance for us to. So we got to meet. Actually, we met her also in Los Angeles at Rath Yatra, but after that was about 2018. She hasn't been active.
Acyutananda Prabhu, I notice in one of Prabhupada's earliest letters to you, it's a letter to Madhava Maharaj from January 21st, 1970. And he says, regarding Mayapur land, practically my jurisdiction of preaching work is covered mostly in these Western countries. And because Srila Bhaktivinoda wanted it, that the American and European devotees should come to Mayapur, therefore I am trying for it. If you kindly help in this connection, it will be a great assistance. I have already written to Acyutananda in this connection, and whichever plot of land you altogether select, I will accept it. Then to somebody unknown, the same date, Prabhupada says, I'm obliged to you for giving shelter to Sriman Acyutananda Brahmachari when he was in Calcutta. It doesn't say who that was to. Who gave you shelter in Calcutta? Do you remember?
Madhava Maharaj.
Pardon? Madhava Maharaj.
Yes, I was with Sridhar Maharaj for a year. somebody just said 6 months. No, I was with him a whole year. And then Sridhar Maharaj got very, very ill. And he lived to 90 something. But so many. He said, last week I thought I might go away. He said, and Lokaguru knows that the doctor said he only has about 5% circulation. He just can't even be alive. But so he told me, go down to Madhu Maharaj, sent letter of introduction, and I stayed in Madhu Maharaj's Mat Satish Chatterjee Road, Caitanya.
Is
Chaitanya
this Maharaj Daita Madhava Maharaj?
Yes, Bhakti Daita Madhava.
Yeah, I love his writings.
Yeah, another time when it's earlier, I'll tell you all about it.
Oh, that would be great.
The next day, Prabhupada wrote to someone named Barindra Babu, and he said, Acyutananda is a very sincere young American boy, and your cooperation with him is very much appreciated. Now, the difficulty is that he is a foreigner. I understand that the land in Mayapur cannot be purchased in his name alone. Barindra Babu. Also enclosing some
how do you spell the first name?
Barindra. Barindra Babu.
I don't know who that was.
He says, I'm also enclosing some newspaper pictures of our Western devotees' recent articles. After seeing them, you can give them over to Acyutananda. They will help him in his preaching work.
I got that. Yeah.
Okay, and then to Brahmananda, the same day, Prabhupada said, please find one picture of Acyutananda, which I would like for immediate publication in BTG with the following caption. Shriman Acyutananda Das Brahmachari, who is now visiting Calcutta. We have got a very good friend, enthusiastic in preaching Krishna consciousness, Mr. B.K. Ghosh, M.A. LLB. He is himself a great admirer of Chaitanya philosophy, and he is holding Sankirtan meetings every Sunday in different places of Calcutta and suburbs. The above picture was taken in a meeting where Acyutananda Brahmachari spoke nicely on Krishna conscious philosophy under the presidency of Honorable Mr. Justice P.B. Mukherjee of the Calcutta High Court. He is sitting just on the left of Acyutananda Das Brahmachari. So gradually a nice center of the International Society for Krishna Consciousness is growing with the prospect of headquarters at Mayapur, the birth site of Lord Chaitanya.
Yeah, I had, he was an assistant title in the government, some department in the Indian government, and he introduced me and took me on programs all over Calcutta, north of Calcutta also. By train, we went everywhere. So that might have been Barindra. Barindra may also have been a householder disciple of Bhakti Sridhar Maharaj.
Anyway, it would be very nice to go through your letters because you have a lot of nectar there. With your permission. Not now, but maybe next time.
Yeah, next time I know I'll talk more about Madhu Maharaj.
Okay. Anyway, thank you very much, everyone. And so today is Friday, June 11th, and Monday, which will be the 14th, 8 p.m., same time, Eastern Standard Time, whatever that works out. Try to come earlier next time, okay? Nirhari, Bhavatarini, Prabhus, is it possible? You came at, sorry, I have him on mute, so I have to take him off.
What time is it there? What time is it in Hawaii now?
Right now it's 4:07 p.m. 4:07 p.m.
6 hours behind.
And I wanted to mention to Acyutananda Prabhu, I'm just so honored and so happy to have reconnected with you. You were my favorite lecturer devotee, so concise, so precise. I remember, to this day, a lecture you gave on Tantra Yoga, and at that time was very popular among the youth people as an excuse, really, actually, for sexual intercourse. And you proceeded to break down what really Tantra was.
Yes, it was I put that in a chapter of my book also. Oh, there's an echo. There's an echo.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I couldn't get to maybe I can order that online, your book?
Yeah, Amazon.
We have it? No.
Amazon has it. I sent one to Mohini. She's here now.
Oh,
They moved out. They left Hawaii. Maybe
turn down your volume.
Me?
My volume, I don't know what happened. Can you hear me at all?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
How's that?
But your
Yeah, I can
volume. That's
I'm
why I
trying to
have to
get
mute you. Sorry. Anyway, please come back on Monday to associate with Acyutananda Prabhu, okay?
Yes, we will. We will, Prabhu.
All right.
Hari, are you in touch with Hanuman?
Yes, Prabhu. I can hear you now.
Just if you're in touch with Hanuman.
I'm sorry. Can you repeat that? I'm having to put the phone to my ear.
Are you in touch with Hanuman?
Are you in touch with
Hello?
Hanuman? In touch with Hanuman?
No, not at all. We had kind of a fallout. It has a long story.
Hanuman Prabhu is not in touch with Hanuman.
Okay.
Please
You
accept
gotta
my.
Acyutananda, you gotta tell us more about Kesha Maharaj also. Pati Pragyan Kesha Maharaj.
Yes.
Next time.
Acyutananda Mehta. He'll tell us on Monday. It's after 10 now here.
Okay.
Oh, yes, late.
Accept my respectful obeisances. Vanchikopa. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Gaur Premanandi.
Vaishnava Vrinda ki jai.
Jai.
Hare Krishna.